Okay, now we're discussing The Devil in the Dark, which is, I think, a very good episode of Star Trek, the original series. Often considered a strong, very indicative example of the Star Trek franchise's tendency to promote these values of trying to understand other species, the prime directive, attempting to establish communication as the imperative prior to the need to ideally extinguish a threat of a creature in question. And The Devil in the Dark would ground the series of an ethos which it really attempted to explore and make as consistent as possible throughout the Star Trek Next Generation era, accepting, I guess, as has been pointed out many times and quite humorously so on some occasions, obviously, not manifested in the Star Trek theatrical, Next Generation theatrical feature films. And often pointed out that it's not particularly consistently applied in the original series. In fact, obviously, people have pointed out there are numerous inconsistencies with the applications of Starfleet practice throughout the original series run, although there is at least hints and the fact that people are criticizing it for not being consistent means that there was at least sick a modicum of value there, that they were distilling some sort of ideal message which was not always being applied, as I said, consistently across the board in Star Trek the original series. It's been pointed out, I think, the Amiga Glory in season 2 is a very amusing instance where they were on one part of the episode attempting to sort of apply and correct some breaches of the Prime Directive, although they ended up throwing it all out the window when Kirk starts reading out the Constitution to a group of aliens who treat it as their gospel, thanks to another Starfleet officer who's broken the Prime Directive. But anyway, talking about a different episode entirely. But what is there to say here? I think it's very solid. I think the script's good. I think the production's quite absorbing and immersive for a Star Trek original series episode. I think it's probably one of the more accomplished of the original series. As I said, I don't have much profound to share about it. People have probably said already anything before, oh, you sympathize with the creature, oh, it's peaceful, and we all learn about how we need to be nice to everything. I mean that's kind of sarcastically, but they are really great values. I don't want to diminish those. Do I think the telling of the episode is overly sentimental? I don't necessarily. I think you can be tricked into thinking that because of how sentimental and sort of one note binary tacky a lot of the sort of response to Star Trek's sort of peaceful universal values can be, because often degenerates into bad television in the context of Next Generation, with Picard giving some sanctimonious speech and everyone sort of in the audience just sort of nodding and being like, yes, Picard, you tell us what to do, yes, yes, yes. And it's like there's no danger or excitement to it. Perhaps I'm being a bit ungrateful here, but that's kind of why that's why I appreciate Deep Space Nine, if no other reason, but there's plenty of reasons why I do very much immensely appreciate Deep Space Nine. But no, Devil in the Dark is a very good example of Trek, but I prefer, even my favourite episodes of the original series are ones which are challenging to an extent to the notions of stability, and then sort of apply a more realistic yet resolutely ideal, you could say, attitude toward the interactions of species. Episodes like Mirror Mirror, Errand of Mercy, perhaps, City on the Edge of Forever, Journey to Babel, Doomsday Machine, Bread and Circuses I love. Even I like season three's Day of the Dove. I don't know if that applies to that category necessarily. I just think it's a fun watch. I'll close it here. I've spoken for too long. Thank you everyone immensely.